Hey y'all, I'm Izzy Shows, and today we're going to talk about a topic that stirred quite a bit of interest in some groups. How I wrote a book in 2 days. What? You did what, Izzy? Yeah, I wrote 75,000 words in less than 48 hours. It was a really crazy journey. It was really fucking hard. I broke it into 2 sessions where I wrote about 40 something thousand words. And then I took a break and I tried to sleep and I couldn't sleep because my brain was just like, wah! Then I went back and I wrote the rest of it. And then at the end, I was really dizzy. My eyeballs were like doing this vibrating thing. I stood up and I kind of, when I walked, I should have gone like this, and I went like this. So, I couldn't walk in a straight line. And at the end of it, there's this weird thing going on where like the tips of some of my fingers on my left hand were cold and they didn't bend right. I think they didn't get enough circulation because like my right hand got to jump over to hit the enter key and get on the mouse a little bit, and my left hand was just like, so that probably wasn't good for it. So yeah, that was crazy. Actually, I just did it again, sort of on a less extreme scale, but also slightly more extreme. I wrote more words and I wrote 49,000 words in less than 24 hours. So comparatively, it was less words, but it was also more words in less time. Because the first day, I wrote like 43,000 words or 45,000 words, and then this time I wrote 49,000 words. So I leveled up a little bit, but I also was in a lot better shape at the end of that 49,000 word one, probably because it didn't take me 2 days. That second day of no sleep was probably really bad for me. This time I only had 1 day of no sleep, but I also kind of screwed myself over because I drank like 3 monsters in like 4 or 5 hours, and so like I was nauseous and I was really sick. So that was bad, but I got it done. I'm really proud of myself. I don't recommend it. I guess you're probably wanting to know how exactly I did it, and there really is no trick to it. It's not like I plugged my brain into some special program and the words flew out. At the end of the day, it's really simple. It was a combination of a really, really immediate deadline, willpower. That's about it. It was those two. The trick to me is that I have a fairly detailed outline. I always write about a paragraph summary for every chapter, and I write in sprints. So I will go for 20 minutes and then take a 10-minute break, and 20 minutes and 10-minute break, on and on until I hit my daily word count. How I do that is I open up Scrivener because I love Scrivener, and I put it into composition mode where it takes up your whole screen and it blacks out the sides, and you've got the paper in the middle. And then you don't have to, but the way I set mine up is I have the inspector on the upper right hand side, which shows me the summary of the chapters so that I can refer to that as I'm sprinting. And then right beneath the inspector, I have the daily word targets, where it shows me my manuscript goal and my current progress. And then beneath that, in the same little window, it shows me my session goal and my session progress. And I've noticed that I'm a little different in how I use sessions. A lot of people have their sessions set to their total daily goals. So like for me, that would be setting my session goal to 12,000 words. and not touching my session progress until I hit 12,000 words or went over it or whatever. That's not how I do things. I set my session target right now to 1,500 words. And then I sprint for 20 minutes. I write down in my spreadsheet how many words I got from my session target little thingy. It tells me how many words I got in that 20-minute sprint. I write it down in my spreadsheet, and then I hit reset on my session target in Scrivener so that it goes back to 0, and I do another 20-minute sprint where I fill it up to 1,500 again, and then I reset it, and on and on and on with those 10-minute breaks until I hit my goal. I'm gonna go ahead and give you a look at my spreadsheet so that you can see kind of how that looks to me. I know some people use like a bunch of apps and stuff to get their sprinting recorded. I just use a good old-fashioned spreadsheet because I am a control freak and I have to have things my way or the highway. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at that for you. So as you can see, I have my start time and my finish time logged, and then my word count. The spreadsheet automatically calculates my words per hour with a formula that I put in, just because I love seeing how fast I go. And then on the very right, I record whether or not I completed a chapter in that sprint. That's because I have 2 daily goals, to write a specific number of words, which right now is 12,000 words a day, and to complete a specific number of chapters. The hope is that I'll hit my chapter goal before my word goal, but that doesn't always happen, especially if my chapters go longer than I estimated. Depending on how I'm feeling when I hit my word goal, sometimes I'll push on to hit my chapter goal, especially if it's like 1 chapter away. But usually at that point, I'm feeling pretty beat and I call it a night. It's because, 12,000 words is a lot of words to write. So like that's, for me, that is 4 hours of writing, like 20 minutes on, 10 minutes off from about 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. It's just on and on and on. I do sprint break for 4 hours. So at the end of that 4 hours, I'm kind of beat usually. So unless I'm really close to my chapter goal, I'll usually call it a night at the end of when I hit my word count goal. At the bottom of the sheet, you can see that it tells me how many sprints I completed, just because I like to know. How many words I wrote for the day in total, and how much time I spent actually writing. So that's counting up each of the 20-minute sessions, but it doesn't take my breaks into account. And also my average words per hour and the total amount of chapters I completed for the day. I also have these nifty little progress bars at the very top of my sheet, which you can see. The first one is the word count, and the second one is the chapters. I set my chapter goal. My chapter goal changes from book to book. So like depending on how long a book is, I will take the number of chapters and I'll divide it up into the number of days that I want to spend writing the book. Usually that tends to come out to about 6 chapters a day. Sometimes it's closer to 4, sometimes it's closer to 8, but usually it averages around being 6 chapters a day. And then the word count goal is obviously 12,000 words. I've got it set up so that the total bar is always the exact number of words my goal is. The green part of the bar is how much is left in the goal, and the blue part of the bar is how much progress I've made. So like if I've done 2 sprints, then I have 3,000 words. So I've got blue filled up to 3,000, and then the green is how far I have left to go to get to 12,000. So those little graphs are entirely unnecessary, but they make me happy. so that just because I like to visualize things. So that's why I have them there. So that's my spreadsheet. I already described how I sprint. I do 20 minutes straight with my entire screen blocked out so that it's just the document. I don't do anything else but write while I'm in the middle of that sprint. Usually at the end of the sprint, when the timer goes off and it's been 20 minutes, I'll finish up the sentence that I was in the middle of. I don't consider that cheating, but if you do, whatever, don't judge me. But yeah, I'll finish the sentence that I was in the middle of, and then I'll go and log it in my spreadsheet. Then I take a 10-minute break where I'm not the best at this, so I'm still working on it. I try for every 10-minute break to get up, walk around, shake out my wrists, wiggle my fingers, make sure that, I'm getting the blood flowing, because I'm going for 4 hours straight. I don't want to, mess up my wrists and incur any long-term issues. I'm not that concerned about it because I have been writing at a computer since I was about 9 years old. So I do have an issue where my up here in my shoulder is really tense. I actually went to a doctor and she said that my right shoulder was 5 years older than my left shoulder. So apparently my computer use has caused a lot of tension in my right shoulder. But I don't have any pain in my actual wrists and fingers. And, at the end of my 4 hours, I don't have any pain in my fingers. I know a lot of people talk about how they have to stop writing at some point in the day because their wrists hurt or something like that. I don't have any physical pain at the end of my writing day. I think that's because, I get it done really quickly. It's only 4 hours, and then I move on to other things. Although usually I am still at my computer. I'm addicted to computers. If I'm not at my desktop, then I'm out on my laptop on the couch. But yeah, so I try to get up and stretch a bit, wiggle around, and then I usually fuck off on Facebook for the rest of my 10-minute break because I'm an addict and I need my fix. I'm sure you can extrapolate from that information as to how I actually managed to write the book in 2 days. Basically, I just said fuck it to my boundaries. Before I did this challenge, I just mentioned that my daily word count goal is 12,000 words. Before I did this challenge, my word count goal was actually 9,000 words. That generally was 6 sprinting sessions, 6 20-minute sprint sessions, and now I do 8 20-minute sprint sessions. Usually, actually at the time, right before I was doing this challenge, when I was doing 9,000 words a day, I was actually getting pretty comfortable with it. But a week prior to the challenge, I was at a point where 9,000 was my hard upper limit, where, I'd hit 9,000 words, and at that point, it was just, can't do it, brain's tapped out, not going to be able to push on any farther. And so, I would always tap out at that point. That wasn't always the case. My upper limit at one point was 3,000 words. One time I wrote 10,000 words when my average was 3,000 words, and I was basically a zombie for the next 2 days. So, my limit hasn't always been 9,000 words, and it is no longer 9,000 words. I'm actually going to talk in another video later on about what I have kind of developed as a habit cycle and how to create and nurture a habit so that you can use it to increase your word count like I have. It's a system, an actual system that you can replicate that I've used for a good long while now, and I'm going to share it with all of you, but that's for later. Yeah, so 9,000 was my upper limit, and then for this challenge I just said, you know what, we're going for it. I have to get this book written. So I just, I hit my 9,000 words, and then I just kept going. I was working on pure willpower and also a huge huge amount of love for the story that I was writing. I really enjoyed writing Dead Witch, even though I only got to spend 2 days with it. I'm actually really sad that I only got to spend 2 days with it because I really enjoyed the characters and the writing. I'm really looking forward to writing book 2 to get to spend a little more time this time with those characters again, so that's going to be fun. That definitely aided in my ability to write the book in 2 days. There did get to be a point in the 2 days where it got kind of painful. I got to a point where I was just like, come on, Izzy, it's just one more sprint. You do one more sprint and then we're done for the night. And I knew that I was lying, like as I said the words to myself. And I said them like out loud, but I knew that I was lying. I knew that I was full of shit, but I was just like, one more sprint and then we'll call it a night. I'd do that sprint and then I'd say it again. I knew I was full of shit, but it still got me to do that sprint. It's kind of like when you're at the gym and you have a personal trainer and they're just like, one more sit up, you're almost there, one more push up, we're so close, and they're full of shit and they're gonna ask you to do another one, but you do it anyway, and you just really hope that this time is gonna be the time when they're not lying to you. Yeah, it was kind of like that, except I was the personal trainer and the person doing push-ups. It's a lot harder to suspend disbelief for that one, but I did it. You might be thinking, but Izzy, why did you write a book in 2 days? What was the point of that? Why did you put yourself through that much pain, since you've been describing how it really messed you up physically? I mean, I did really enjoy sleeping for like 18 hours the next night. Not really night, because I went to bed at like 10:30 in the morning after my 2-day challenge was over, and then I slept for like 18 hours. That was fun. I liked that. But how I felt at the end of the challenge was horrible, and so like looking back on that, you might be thinking, why did you do it, Izzy? Well, the short and simple answer, isn't it the answer all writers have? I had a deadline. I had promised the book to my editor on the 9th. I took 2 days longer to outline it than I had originally intended to, which really sucked. I was really disappointed in myself for that. And it was the 7th, and I started making excuses. I emailed my editor and I was just like, I don't think I'm going to get this book to you on time. And my editor was just like, if it's not on time, it's not going to be edited, because I don't have room to extend your editing slot. And I was just like, well, fuck. I have to get this book edited if I'm going to get it published. And she didn't have any other openings in her availability. Not that I'm with her anymore. We had a falling out that was completely unrelated to this. But at the time, I thought she was amazing, and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to get that book to you on time. I promise. Because I was just like, why the fuck can't I do it? It's only 50,000 words. I can write that in 2 days. By the way, don't try to estimate how long a book is going to be. Even though I do it every single time I write a book, and I'm still doing it, but I'm getting better at it. But yeah, so that book was estimated to be like 55,000 words long, and it grew to 75,000 words, and there was absolutely nothing I could do about it but just write it out, get to the end, keep going. I wasn't about to sacrifice the story just to make it shorter so that I could get it done faster. But yeah, so at the time when I started the challenge, I thought it was going to be like 50,000 words, and it was just like, that's not too bad. I can probably do that in 2 days. Or actually at the time I was thinking 3 days. So like, I was like 50,000 words in 3 days. That sounds insane, but it might not be impossible. So, I took that 50,000 words and I divided by 3 days to figure out how much I was going to have to write per day, and I took off for it, and I was gung-ho, all speed ahead, and then somehow, I only had to get to about 16.5 thousand words in day 1 to be able to write the book in 3 days, because I thought it was going to be 50. I got to that 16.5 point and I was just like, I've got a lot of steam left in me. Why don't I just see how far I can go on this first night? Any words I write tonight are words I don't have to write tomorrow. All words are good words. So I just kept pushing, and I reached like 40 something thousand words on that first night. And at that point, I knew it wasn't going to be 50,000 words to complete the book, because I was just barely over halfway through the book. I was really scared for a little while that it was going to be over 80,000 words, because I was pretty sure I couldn't write 80,000 words in 2 days. Thankfully, it was only 75,000 words, only hit that terrifying mark by 5,000. Actually, not so much to be relieved about there. But yeah, I was over 40,000 words done on day one, and I was over halfway through the book. I took a look at things, and I was just like, I just wrote more than half of the book in one day. Who's to say I can't do it again and actually do less, since I don't have half the book left on day 2 and get this whole thing done in 2 days? Why settle for 3 days when you can have 2 days? Crazy pants. And I just plowed into it, and I did it. I only had to write about, give or take, 30,000 words on day 2. So day 2 honestly wasn't that bad, although the fact that I hadn't slept for like 2 nights in a row, that was kind of bad. So I was really dragging at the end of the day too. But I did it! Now, I already know what some of you are thinking. I'm not going to say all of you. I know that, there are some not assholes. I'm not going to say that you're a good person, because I don't know you. I mean, I hope you're a good person, but we're going to go with not assholes. I know there are some not assholes out in the world, but there are also some assholes out in the world who are just going, but Izzy, everyone knows that good art takes years to create, and that thing you wrote in 2 days can't possibly be called a novel. You are destroying the name of all novels out there, and it's a steaming pile of garbage. Well, fuck you, buddy. I think the book is good. I really enjoyed writing it, and it was a shit ton of fun. And guess what? It's gone to the editor. My editor's reviewing it, and yeah, there's a word here that's misspelled, or I used the wrong there, or maybe this one sentence in this one paragraph is a little confusing and needs to be reworded. But normal editing things need to happen. But overall, the response from my editor is, hey, this is a good book. I'm really enjoying just reading this as I'm editing it. That was the response from my editor. So, big screw you to the people who think you can't write a good book in a short amount of time. I obviously do not subscribe to the idea that you have to labor over a project for 5 years for it to be worth reading. I think that's a really elitist point of view. I also don't think that, if you take 5 years to write a book, that you're somehow, inferior to someone who can write a book in a month. I don't think either option makes anybody a better writer. I think everybody has their own process and their own journey, and we're all at different points. And what works for you, and that's awesome. And all I ask is that you extend me the same courtesy. Don't call my book a steaming pile of garbage just because I didn't take 5 years to write it. Thanks. But yeah, the book is coming out hopefully on the 7th, assuming that the rest of the editing goes well. There's actually been a small hiccup with the editing where over 200 pages of the editing got eaten, so only about 100 pages survived as far as what was edited and marked up and all of that stuff, and the rest of it is basically as if it had never been touched, which is really depressing for both me and my editor. But you know, we've got a plan in place. We're working double time. I'm taking a vacation to Disney next week. This video is coming out on Wednesday, so this past Sunday, I went to Disney, and I'm currently in Disney right now at the time that you're watching this video, but I am also, at the moment, every night I'm working on that editing so that I can get the book done and published on time. But you know, if I have to push it back a week, that's not the end of the world, and I'm not gonna freak out over it. You know, shit happens. But yeah, so the book's coming out hopefully on the 7th, definitely soon, at the very least, and we will see what the world says about whether or not it's a good book. I am probably gonna wait 2 weeks after it launches before I come back and talk about it. So like I said in the other video, the Getting to Know You video, I know a lot of you are really looking forward to hearing about my launches. I've gotten a lot of questions about Grave Mistakes launch and Blood Huntress's launch. Blood Huntress actually broke the top 200 on Amazon, so that was really exciting. A lot of people have been asking me questions about it. Like I said in the other video, I am going to hold off on talking about any of my launches on this YouTube channel until this next book launch is over and done with. I'm going to wait probably about 2 weeks after it launches, because I always do a 2-week, 14-day launch for maximum visibility. We'll talk about that later. So probably 2 weeks after the launch, I'm going to come back, I'm going to talk about it, I'm going to talk about how I launched the book, what my process was, where it ended up ranking wise, you know, how well it sold, all of that junk that I know you're dying to hear about. And I guess we can also talk reviews because I know a lot of you are probably going to be like, your book's shit, and we'll see in the reviews if the rest of the world thinks the book is shit. I would really appreciate it if you watch this video and you hate me, that you not go and 1-star my book. That would be nice. That's a really shitty thing to do. But yeah, so we're gonna see what real, actual readers think about the book. I'm really excited to see what they think. So yeah, there you have it. That is how I wrote a book in 2 days, and that is all that I have for you today. If you didn't watch my Getting to Know You video, I'll say it again. Check in with me next week. We're going to talk about accountability, how to use it to your advantage, and we're also going to hit on my monthly goals, which are going to have some lovely cold hard numbers for you on my sales figures and what actually is, you know, what actually happens for, you know, someone self-publishing in their first year. You know, obviously I said it in my last video. I guess I have to repeat myself. Not everybody's going to have the same results as me, but this will give you an idea of what could potentially happen, I guess. So yeah, we're going to talk monthly goals and accountability next week. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to suggest a video for me to do on this channel, feel free to leave me a comment or tweet me at Izzy Shows. You can also find me on Tumblr, also Izzy Shows, and you know, leave me an anonymous message if you would prefer to do that. If you prefer that I don't know who you are, that's totally fine by me. I'm not going to be weirded out by that. All of the links to my social media are listed below. All right, y'all have a great day.